Hey there, fourth grade, Mr. Remedies, with our next step in our writing unit on writing an argumentative text. Today, we're talking about revising. Right? As always, we have some learning goals and success criteria we want to try to accomplish today, so let's check out those right now. Our learning goal today is that we are learning how to revise an argumentative or persuasive essay. We have four I can statements for you that make up our success criteria today. First and foremost, you should be able to say to yourself, I can define revise, I can define weak argument, followed by number three, I can identify words or phrases that create weak arguments. And finally, number four, I can improve my writing through better word choices. All right, let's take a deeper dive and see exactly how we're going to revise an argumentative essay by looking at vocabulary. Remember, we've talked about the revising step in the writing process. Revise means to make your writing better by adding text, removing text, or changing text. But we want to avoid correcting things like punctuation or spelling or grammar or anything like that. We are just really concerned with things like word choice, phrasing, and the organization of our paper during the revising step. Our second vocabulary word for today is weak argument. A weak argument is a statement that does not fully or firmly support your idea. And we'll see some examples of those in just 1 second. So let's move on to that example and let's see exactly what we have going on. Let's practice identifying a weak argument. Right? We need to ask ourselves a couple of questions as we read to see if these statements are indeed weak arguments. First one is, do the facts back this up? Right? A good persuasive technique is to use facts, statistics, and information to prove your point or to justify your position. If the answer to this question is no, boom, that's a weak argument. Okay, so we definitely want to look at that kind of statement. The second question we ask is, does my writing show a firm belief? Does the reader really understand how much I believe in this position, or how passionate I am, or how strongly I believe in that? If the answer to this question is no, boom, weak argument. Weak argument. And finally, the third question we have to ask ourselves as we read our rough draft is, can my statements be easily disproved? Tricky one here. This one doesn't follow the pattern. If you say yes, this statement can be easily disproved, boom, weak argument. Hit the gym argument. You weak. You weak. All right. So now that we have these quick think alouds and thinking processes down, let's take a look at how we can put this to use when revising a rough draft. Remember from last week, we are revising a rough draft on from our example, should kids join organized sports? Now, your writing assignment has been all about should schools have multiple or extended recesses, but the ideas are still the same. So our writing prompt for this example was, should kids join organized sports? Pow. Here is a sample of a piece of writing from a student. Children should join organized sports. I think it would probably be a good idea for some kids to join organized sports. There are some things children can learn from joining a sport like football, soccer, or baseball. Sports can teach kids good lessons. Well, I don't know about you, but I think that we can identify some weak arguments. Remember, we want to ask ourselves, um, is my writing backed up by facts? Does the reader think that I have a firm or strong belief in this position? And uh, can these statements be easily disproved? So I'm reading through this rough draft of mine, and you know what? I noticed that the word probably sticks out to me, as well as good. Uh, and then some. And I'm asking myself, you know what? I'm going to second question. I don't think the reader will believe that I strongly strongly suggest that kids should join organized sports because I've written words like probably, I've written just an okay word like good, and then some kids. But I believe that most, if not all kids, should join some sort of organized sports. So I want to break out my thesaurus, and I want to replace these words to make them seem firmer and stronger because this statement is a weak argument. So I'm going to replace the word probably with definitely. I think it would definitely be a good idea for some kids. I'm going to replace the word good with fantastic. And I'm going to replace some kids. I'm not going to replace some kids. Remember, revising is uh, sometimes changing or removing text. So I'm going to remove the word some. So I'm going to reread that. I think it would definitely be a fantastic idea for kids to join organized sports. I like where that's at. I'm going to move on to the rest part of my paragraph here. Again, I see the word some. I'm not really liking that. And down here at the last sentence, good again. Well, there are some things children can learn from joining a sport like football, soccer, or baseball. Well, I think there's not just some things. I think there are numerous things. Numerous being a synonym for many. There are numerous things children can learn from joining a sport. Sport can teach kids good lessons. Well, uh, good is good, but important is better because I do believe sports can teach kids important lessons. So let's take a look. How does it sound now? So on your screen, I have on the left side the original rough draft copy, and on the right side, I have our new revised copy. If you were reading this, which one would you be persuaded by more? Would it be the one that's kind of wishy-washy? Eh. Or would it be our revised copy, which has stronger, firmer language in it? Boom. Of course you would. You would enjoy reading, and you could possibly be persuaded by the revised edition. All right, quick lesson today. Let's move on for a little review. We've talked about revising our writing, and we know that revising includes adding text, removing text, or changing text. But when we talk about revising argumentative text, revising an argumentative text is all about deleting weak arguments. A weak argument can be identified with some questions that we ask ourselves, like, do the facts back this up? Does my writing show a firm belief in the position I've chosen? And can my statements be easily disproved? Remember, if we answer no, no, and yes, what we're reading and what we've written is a weak argument. And we want to avoid that. All right, guys, I've been Mr. Remedies. You've been amazing. Today, you'll be revising your rough draft from last week. So go ahead and keep these strategies in mind. Refer back to this video if you need to. And we will see you next time. Adios, guys.